Never gets old.
Yeah.
99
I was
shows,
thinking,
and I still love that music.
one of these days we'll get a legit jingle. Maybe that'll happen in 2023. We'll make that our New Year's resolution.
Maybe that should be our New Year's, along with retooling the show. We're gonna
there we go.
Retool it.
We'll talk about that later. We're gonna look back at the year that was 2022.
Yeah.
And you know what? We've got into this habit of our last show of the year kind of being a nerdy happy hour. So what do you say we do that again?
I say we do that again.
In fact,
and if you look at our green room, it kind of looks like there's
motley cast of characters.
There's just a lot of dudes in there, so this should be
well,
pretty interesting. By the way, I want to point out that I got this new shirt, right? Surf Arrakis House of Atreides. I really like this shirt. I wore it all day the other day, and not one member of my family, nobody noticed. And I was just like, what?
They just thought it. They just thought it was from like Birch Surf Shop or something. I think
it probably did.
It's pretty stealth geek mode there.
God.
Well, look, dude. I've got to represent. So you know what I'm doing for New Year's.
I had a feeling about that.
Well, we'll get to that. So we're going to bring on some guests. So we got a cast of characters here. We got Daniel. What's up, Daniel? We got Kevin. Hello. We got Michael Rowe in the house. We got Alan Mueller. That's a blast from my past. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then the always intellectual and guy that makes me feel dumb in every room, Eric Lamb. All right. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the WeeksEnd 90. We're calling it 98/99 because we were trying to get to 100 episodes this year, and we struggled.
So close.
We struggled. We got so close, but we figured if we made this an hour, then technically it counts as 2 30-minute streams.
That's right.
It's math, people. All right. So, Daniel, who are you? Where are you calling from? What's going on?
I'm calling from Michigan. I am a friend of Ryan's from the Avid community. Or a cult,
it's okay.
Apparently.
You can call it a cult.
You are a cult.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, I mean, the best kind of cult. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. I'm really big into movies and pop culture in general.
Representing with the Buffalo plaid.
So awesome.
Kevin, man, your sweatshirt is blinding, and it is. It's wonderful though.
I saw yours. This was a gift.
Yep.
Because my wife and I both grew up in Massachusetts, and a lot
of
right.
Oh, you should have said that. You got fast friends with Graham here.
In Leominster. I'm just north of Worcester.
Yeah. We owned a house in Princeton, so.
Yep. Oh my God, my son works at
very close. Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah. He's a lift operator.
We get lobster more often here with the food trucks than we did when we lived there. We ended up driving to Maine to get it, which is not bad. It's just expensive. Yep. Ryan and I met because early days here for Twitter being a deal, there were tweet ups in the triangle.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of folks and I work in corporate IT, so my geekdom is a lot of, my little fun project was set up an Ansible server over the weekend.
It worked on my machine.
All right, something Mike, I got to learn.
Michael Rowe.
Hey, so Michael Rowe, yeah. Ryan and I go back, 15, 16 years?
Maybe, something like that.
From when I used to do a podcast called Dog Ear Nation. I do one now called GamesAtWork.biz. We focus on gaming technology, business, tech, geeking out, and general fun time. And I'm in North Carolina.
The Fediverse. Yeah, we used to work together at a small company called International Business Machines.
Oh, I thought it was HAL.
Yeah. Well, one of the many inventions. Alan Mueller, how the hell are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I knew Ryan going back 30-something years.
Longer than that, yeah. So here's the crazy thing. Alan and I, we probably haven't seen each other since we graduated high school, but we literally almost sat beside each other during all of our years in band.
Oh, yeah. Ryan was holding it down.
And one time at band camp?
One time at band camp?
This is before that. We were OG.
Right.
But yeah, man, I remember lots of good memories about this. Like my first international travel was going to London, where Alan and I marched in the Lord Minster's parade in London on New Year's Day. back in like 91 or something.
Taking me back, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I think we just celebrated our 30th high school reunion like 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't make it in town for that, but I wanted to have you on and let you nerd out with us. So
appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm Alan. I'm in North Carolina still. I'm in Greensboro. I'm a consultant, and I geek out about lots of things. Right behind me, I got lasers. I do a lot of lasering. I'm a Disney geek, and also this thing called drum corps. And real quick, if you don't know what drum corps is, imagine mixing band, Cirque du Soleil, Fanatical Marines, track and field, and Broadway, and hit blend. And that's drum corps.
Wow. Alan, I'm willing to bet one of your favorite movies, or a movie that you at least enjoy, is Real Genius.
I do enjoy that movie. It's a classic, man.
It's a laser film, man.
I mean, it's lasers.
Yeah. It's the quintessential laser movie.
It is the quintessential
you don't get much better than death lasers that are built by students.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Eric J. Lamb, what are you doing with your time these days now that you're a fancy retired person?
I was told to say that I don't say you're retired anymore because people think you're dead.
Right.
I have left the public sector and taken my pension.
That sounds so much better. You're right.
Doesn't it? Yeah, I'm still among the living. So people are like, oh, you retired early. I'm like, no, I retired on time. Thank you very much. 30 years of public service is enough for any human being. I'll just say that right now. So, and it's allowed me an amazing opportunity to explore some serious geekdom over the last year. I've actually gotten to play video games all the way to the end, and it's just, it's amazing. I have time to do fun stuff, and I'm doing some part-time consulting too. So I've got still keep my hand in the world from whence I came. But it's been an amazing liberation to do this. So.
A little bit. I was cracking up over that Twitter discussion that I tried to lure you into, and you smartly avoided, about the light rail that we've wanted to build in the Triangle here for many, many years. And
so I just want to point out that so to any of our regular viewers, I actually do have some friends. They just were not able to join.
Come on.
Today. There are other people that live outside of the fucking triangle, just so we're clear. Like,
I mean,
thank
aren't
God
you
at least
still digging out from the bomb cyclone?
Michigan.
I mean,
yeah. So,
yeah. Do you even have power where you're at?
I've got the fusion generator running, so I'm fine for forever.
So Stark was there earlier, pulled it out of his chest, put it on the...
Stark was, look what he left for me. Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
He gave me my own shield. I thought that was quality. But it's great to have you guys here. It's always nice to meet new folks on Ryan's friends and Graham. It's always nice to meet Ryan's
Thursdays at 12:30.
Especially other AVET fanatics, because we all know Ryan is just ridiculous about whatever they are, the brothers there. But yeah, so let's start by taking a little bit of a look back at 2022. We'll do a little bit of a round robin. We'll start with our guests, finish up with Ryan and myself. But let's start. We'll go right back around the room. Daniel, tell us a little bit about 2022. What were some wins? What were some things that, like, man, you're glad that's behind you? Tell us a little bit about your year.
My year, it was a year of transition. I started doing event security part-time, and I love it. I've got 6 jobs now part-time, just working all kinds of music events and major events. I work for the Detroit Lions as well, and I'm down in the field now. So whatever I'm doing is working. So I get to transition between that and then do a concert the next day with maybe 4,500 people instead of 65,000. And for me, it's one of those weird things. I love the job. Never thought I would love it, but I was working for medical billing and just had my soul sucked out of me in that kind of field. So get to work with people, and not always the nicest people, but good people. It makes everything worthwhile. So,
but the good news is, Daniel, whenever people go to concerts, most people are sober and polite, right?
Oh my God, yes. Well, the thing is the disconnect between a security group and people that attend concerts. You know what I mean? If you've ever had a situation with you've had to deal with security, they're not thinking about you specifically in your experience. They're thinking about safety, which is important, of course, but they're not thinking about it in a total lens. And I think coming from the AVIT world with Ryan, I've seen it firsthand, and now I can try to apply that to how I deal with people at concerts and people at events and reassure them, like, I'm here for you, but you got to understand where I'm coming from as well.
Yep.
And I think that I'm trying to bridge that, and I think it's going pretty well so far.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
So what's the most surprising crowd at like a really laid back concert who were totally screwed up?
They're just drunk. They're just drunk.
They're just drunk.
Everyone's drunk.
At
every show.
And I will never understand that aspect of it. When you've paid as much as you had for that show, and then paying an additional $13 for a beer, and then doing that
you don't
times
remember
5,
the show.
it's just
So what's
like,
the point?
what a money suck. Like, I'm there for the show. And Ryan, though,
Some
I don't drink
people,
anything for like 6 hours, before their concert, because I'm not
usually
going to
I'm the kind of person, I'm not even drinking now at shows at all.
It's just it's mind-boggling. Best fans though that I've dealt with so far have been the Grizz. I don't know if anyone knows who the Grizz is. They're an EDM band from Michigan. They're one of the slogans is show love, spread love, and they specifically their fans were absolutely fantastic in every way. They were all there for each other. Everyone was taking care of each other. Just wanted to be as close as they could. It was a big party. It was amazing.
I love that.
Nice.
That's really cool. We'll sprinkle in a little bit more about events because I also work events, so we should talk a little bit more about that at some point. Kevin, tell us a little bit about your not in Massachusetts but still equally relevant year, my friend. Tell us about your 2022.
Well, so to start it off, we've been down here over 20 years, and it's really nice. There's a reason we're here, right? Even though it's not Massachusetts, we don't get there as much as we used to. But probably the best thing carried over from previous year, the whole plague time, was that been in closer touch with folks I used to work with way back in the day. I worked for DEC.
Oh, no kidding!
Marlboro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they used to have their own in-house social media, Vax Notes, and almost any topic was okay. Not quite any, but almost. And there was a whole Deadhead community.
Nice.
And a bunch of us started getting back together during the plague, since, everybody's home and doing nothing, right? Or not doing anything fun. And that stuck for the most part. And that's been good. And then the very cap for the year has been, I got in the mail from my wife, here's your last present for the year. And it's Tedeschi Trucks in Durham in the spring tickets. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to that.
That is awesome. I want to see them.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yep.
Man.
I consider myself very lucky to have seen the Dead with Jerry Garcia not long before he passed away, at the Boston Garden before they tore the old garden down.
Wow.
So I got the
rats and all.
I got the whole experience. Just a god awful venue with a very tired Jerry. It was
and you got pretty buzzed out because you just had to be there for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good times.
Yep. I saw him in Foxborough.
Oh yeah.
At the old Schaefer.
Yep. Excellent.
Good one.
Nice. Anyway. Eric, what about you? What's tell us a little bit about your year. You're not in retirement. I don't want to use that.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's been a pretty crazy year of transition for me. I mean, again, apart from actually getting to play some video games from beginning to end, I got to do some travel and some things that were sort of bucket list. I did a safari. I went to South Africa by myself. My wife looked at the package that my friend was putting together, and she said, no. She said, this is too primitive for me. She's like, but you should go do it. So for the first time in my life, I traveled for 10 days internationally by myself.
That's awesome.
With some friends, and it was an amazing experience. I saw all the big animals and then some. So we've tried to take some trips now that we've got a little more free time and the means to do so.
That's great.
But I've also been able to take some time to catch up on some things that I really wanted to see. I've gone back and rewatched all of Rick and Morty.
from beginning to end. They gave me my entree to catch up into the current season. Same, I went back and rewatched all of Firefly. It was one of those things that, you know, I loved it as a show when it came out in the movie, and it was just it's been a while. You know, the fog of war of being a parent and you know, having kids and living through that experience, and being able to go back and sort of rewatch that again and go, oh yeah, now I remember that a little more clearly. So yeah, and then, you know, we actually moved out of Raleigh and moved into a more rural part of the county just outside of Raleigh, and so that's been a nice, pleasant adjustment over the last 2 years.
I bet.
You know, you guys were talking about music. I mean, and the last year has been a big year for me for music as well. So many good concerts, and I think the thing that has been memorable is that as we all dealt with COVID and worked through what that existence was like, and watching things thaw, you know, and this pent up demand for people to get back out and see things, and yeah, Death Cab for Cutie might be the best show that I saw this past year. I saw her at Red Hat here in Raleigh. That was one of the ones I was most excited about. Turns out that was one of the weirdest concerts I've ever been to. It was like short attention span theater for music. It was like all the hits in medley form. It was very strange. Bare Naked Ladies, got to see their show, which was just, you know, Gen X adrenaline on 11, because it was Gin Blossoms and Toad the Wet Sprocket. So I mean, just stick it in my veins. I mean, come on. So yeah,
that sounds like a Parks and Rec episode right there.
Either that or Big Bang Theory for sure.
Yeah.
Eric, did you get your tickets for the transatlanticism and Postal Service?
Oh no! Because
did you even hear about that?
I did see that they're coming through and doing both Postal Service and Death Cab together as a joint show. I can't remember if Raleigh dates are available or not yet.
I didn't see specifically, not on me.
I
but
didn't either.
Those are sold out almost instantly. Yeah. Like that's wet dream type stuff for.
The next big show on my radar is if you're familiar with Wolfpack, they've gotten really popular in the last couple of years and a lot online. But Corey Wong is the guitar player for Wolfpack. He does a whole web show with his band, Corey Wong and the Wong Notes. But he's coming through and playing with Victor Wooten. So the other part of my nerddom, as you can see on the wall behind me, is my love for guitar and bass. And Victor Wooten is pretty much the top of that pyramid. And so to see him play with somebody that's not himself, or with the Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, I'm really excited about that show. That's in February.
That's really cool. Awesome. Well, it sounds like you got good stuff going on there, Eric. Allen, what about you? How's your 2022 been?
First of all,
besides your big high school reunion moment with
right. Well, first of all, I just got to say, Victor Wooten, man, you're taking me back. I booked Victor Wooten once. I worked at App State, and we did this jazz festival, and he was one of those guys we booked. And we also had the Carolina Chocolate Drops. I don't know if y'all know, like Rhiannon Giddens, like all these amazing musicians. And so I was there spending the students' money to do cool concerts.
Rhiannon Giddens has blown up in the last couple of years.
And unlike anybody else we booked, like we used to book like Taking Back Sunday, and we had Willie Nelson my last year there. But Rhiannon Giddens, like the night before her show, she was pregnant, I think, with kid number 3, and she walks into the student union like the day before the show, middle of the day, and just whips out some stringed instrument and just starts a jam session hanging out, right? Which is one of the coolest things, because everyone else, you know, they're big time and they're not going to do anything that's not in the contract or whatever. But she was just like the mountain folk, right? Yeah, it was
that's
cool,
super cool
stuff. You know, 2022. I'm a part-time improv comedian, but I sort of hung that up after about 8.5, 9 years, because I took a professor gig, and I drive 100 miles once a week into the mountains and go be professor-y. And back at the place where I got my master's 20 years ago, which is kind of neat. So it's a temporary thing, but it's cool, and it pays better.
Super cool.
Yeah, it pays better than improv, and it's got insurance and whatnot.
You mean it pays?
It pays, right?
And it's similar to improv. Let's be clear.
And right.
Shockingly,
You got to
You
wing
can still
it.
test plenty of material.
3 hours on stage, except stage is called a classroom, right?
Yep.
But I do miss my. I'm not in the triangle. I'm in the triad because North Carolina needs lots of things in groups of 3, and our comedy club's called the Idiot Box, which is funny because about half of us have PhDs. We got like a Brit Lit guy, we got a geologist. The owner of the club, y'all ready for this? The owner of the club has a PhD in neurobiology from this place called Duke. Like it's kind of an up and coming, yeah. And so we get together and do, and it's funny. I used to work at a college with the geology guy. He was like the president of our faculty senate. And I said to my wife once, I said, you haven't lived until you've had to like simulate a sex act on stage with the head of the faculty senate on Saturday night and then sit across from them in a meeting Monday morning. I was like an assistant dean of something, right? Anyway, so yeah, I've been doing some professor things and, geeking out. I took 3 trips to Disney World this year. Not even kidding. 3 trips.
Wow.
And I took 1 trip to Indianapolis, Indiana for Drum Corps Championships, which is like Mecca for band geeks. It was freaking amazing.
That's awesome.
So with all this, I got a question. Are you doing anything still with the trombone or not?
So it's funny. I haven't played the trombone in about 5 years, but I worked at this Quaker college, the only Quaker college in the South. It was called Guilford. And I was part of 3 different ensembles. You ready? And this is kind of like, how colleges have an a cappella groups, but the name has to be cool. It has to be a fun. Like MIT's got the logarithms, right? Or whatever. So I was in an Oompa band called Quakerhosen. I was in the formal thing that we played at graduation, which was the Quaker Brass, which is the boring one. But then some buddies of mine and I from the German department and the geology guy that I do improv with, we started the pep band, which was the Quaker Funk Machine.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
I did a lot of trombone work when I was in Quakerland, but in about 5 years, I haven't played. So
well, that's
Alan
really
was the trombone player.
I was the trombone player. Yeah.
That is pretty cool, Alan. And actually, my trombone is downstairs in my house right now. I don't play it anymore, but I played trombone when I was growing up, and it's actually here in the house. But to wrap up for Alan, who among us has not simulated sex acts with higher ed faculty members? So on to Michael. Michael, tell us a little bit about your 2022.
Well, I don't know if I can top that at all, but
just make stuff up.
Just make it up.
I'll just make it up. Now, 2022 has been kind of strange. It's a continuation for us on the whole lockdown stuff due to family members, but did do my first trip in forever about 2 weeks ago, which was kind of nice. Been trying to get into some different games. Starting to play Elden Ring right now. For those who are into that, I'm a dragon head, I guess you would consider it. I love all things dragon, and I'm nowhere near seeing any dragons in Elden Ring yet because it's hard.
Because they're all playing World of Warcraft. Dragonflight just came out.
Oh yeah,
I
hit 70 with one of my tunes, and I've got like 12 other tunes I could level up.
So if I say Fusro Da, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. So when it comes to World of Warcraft, I spend way too much time on that. Let me see what else has been interesting. I've one of my podcasts is about to hit episode 400, which is kind of exciting.
That's great.
We were guests on the British Computing Society's animation and gaming group a couple of weeks ago, so that was kind of cool because we talk games and tech and crap. Just playing around with some home automation lately. So that's kind of fun too. Trying to get a little bit better weather information, which I guess is what happens as you get old and you sit around all the time in the house, right? You have to have electronics to tell you what's it like outside.
You don't want to rely on the sore knee for the storm coming.
Yeah.
I just got that this year. First time ever. My knee's been bugging me. I'm like, is this what it feels like to get old?
It's all downhill from here, dude.
Yeah. I was like,
you're just getting started, man.
I know.
You're just getting
Good luck, kid. Good luck. Hey, Michael, where did you go? Where was that first trip you took?
I went to Byron, Georgia.
Oh, that is not what I expected you to say.
No. I was visiting family.
Pretty cool.
Nice.
Excellent.
It used to be if you were driving down 75 in Georgia and you're about midway through the state and you saw a gigantic peach, that was it.
Right.
Now they
I know
got
what
rid
you
of the
mean.
giant peach and they put a stupid billboard there. I'm like, dude, what's up with that? That was icon. You could tell people where that was. And now it's just, whatever.
Well, Michael, it sounds like you've had a good year. I do want to say, don't look at it as wasting too much time playing video games. Look at it as an investment in your creativity, right? And if you look at it that way, and I'm sure anyone who's married, obviously the wives will understand that statement. So I'm sure that you're not wasting time. You're just investing in your own imagination.
One of my favorite Far Side cartoons is parents yelling at the kid about you're wasting your time playing video games, and then I think the next frame is him looking at newspaper ads with $60,000 play video games daytime, right? And since that came out like in the 80s sometimes, I think, it's gone up a little bit.
Excellent. All right, Ryan, over to you, buddy. Tell us a little bit about your 2022, besides the fact that you left my ass alone at IBM, by the way. So we'll just leave that alone.
That's my major accomplishment of the year. Is
left ditching
Graham,
me, is breaking
hollow,
my heart
alone.
I see.
Also, well, you could say I also did it to Michael. So anyway,
fair.
There's plenty of people to be upset at me, but yeah, change jobs. I don't know. I don't know what I'm.
You weren't at IBM that long.
No, not that.
Amateur.
So for me, I don't know, man. Just music. I went to the most concerts this year that I think I've ever gone to. So I guess that's my answer to like what Eric was saying about pent up demand or whatever. And just doing road trips, hanging out with Daniel in New York, and I don't know, just
expanding your Grogu
trying
collection.
to live a little, after we haven't been. I guess is the way to put it.
And rapidly expanding your Grogu collection, which is
that's
really
true.
important.
That's true. I got something for you if you'll. I don't know if you can see behind me there.
Oh, we can see it.
Hey, Graham, at what point do we arrange an intervention on this?
Oh, Eric, he is so far past that at this point. It's
I saw the whole full clothing getup covered in Grogu's. That was that was a little much.
It's just,
Ryan,
it's just a farce.
This assembly
it's just a farce at this point.
We're all your friends
Is
here.
this just a phase?
You're going to put me in the middle of the group and then intervention time? Okay. I'm ready.
Excellent.
How
So
about
who
you,
else
Graham?
has a letter? I have a letter prepared already for this exact moment.
Yes. Extensive counseling therapist. He's going to need a lot of work.
There we
Let's
go.
see. 2022 for me was, just keeping on at work. I'm in a new role now, which is totally standard operating procedure for our corporate culture, and it's great, and I love it. Spent a lot of time this year getting better at not only driving and operating my ATV safely, but really getting good at repairing it. So I actually just completed its 100-hour service, which was very, very, very involved in getting ready to bolt on a new exhaust. And I find that by really wrenching, right, like really getting in there with the tools, it really helps me to understand the machine. And I've also surprisingly found that I really love that work. I never really thought that would be a thing that I'm into, but I absolutely love it. So it's in my garage, it's on a lift, I've got all my tools, and it's a lot of fun. Watched a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows, all that stuff. Did a lot of bird photography. Spent a lot of time, with my kids.
That's another sign that you're old, by the way, when you get into bird watching. That's what I've heard.
It is. I am definitely at that stage where it's funny you say that, because that's literally what everybody says to me. My year kind of ended on not so good of a note. For those of you who are watching who may know, I had two dogs, one named Remy, who's right there, who's a 15-year-old Bichon, and one named Eggsy, who was this little rascal of a Chihuahua Jack Russell mix. Unfortunately, Eggsy passed away about a week ago. It's pretty traumatic, and so that was not the greatest way to end my year. But I'm trying to really get better at looking at things positive, negative, and really understanding, like, hey man, I'm approaching 50. Like, how do I use these things to become a better person, right? How do I not just get these scars, but how do I actually start to, give back to my community, and just whatever it may be. How do you sort of take something and move it forward? So that was a big lesson for me. That was a tough day, and just trying to grow. What do they say in Tron? All things we must grow beyond it, or I forget what the tower guard says, but this notion that, you know, these things that we learn throughout a year, like we've all talked about, good, positive, negative, and different. How do we kind of become a better person? So that's what I've been trying to do this year. And Ryan, you know, I do a lot of work with my YMCA. I'm the board president there, so that takes a huge amount of my time. And so now as I get into this coming year, I want to get back to traveling. You know, I'm really excited that that's about to ramp up again at my job, and getting back both in front of and behind the camera as well. That's also going to be huge this year. I get to do some really cool nerd stuff that I've sort of been like trying to do forever. And now I'm actually going to get to do some of these things. So I think 2022 was bumpy. It was a bumpy year. And I'm hoping
Going back
2023
to an office.
just a little bit. Yeah.
What?
Not yet.
So,
Not if I can help it. That's why I changed jobs. No, just
Do
kidding.
you live in Michigan?
Yeah.
Do you live in Michigan?
No, I live in Massachusetts. Or Daniel's in Massachusetts. I'm in Daniel's in Michigan. I'm in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, okay. Because I was about to say, having an ATV and living in Michigan, there was something there. But
Right
yeah,
here.
no. But now that I know that you've got an ATV in Massachusetts, I'm like, yeah, there's no tropes. I got no tropes.
Yeah. Well, we actually 99% of our riding is actually, most of it's done in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And
you're right up
we,
the road. Yeah.
We have 106 subscribers to Black Cherry Garage on YouTube. Thank you very much.
Nice.
If you want to see some of our fancy riding videos, our season 2 recap is quite a viewing. But we have a lot of fun.
What is it again? It's
Black Cherry Garage.
I'll have to check that out. I've never off-roaded before, but I just in 2022 got this badass thing called a Rivian. I don't know if y'all heard of a Rivian.
Oh, the Rivians are awesome.
Yeah. And so I feel like I should start off-roading. I drive around and I feel guilty that I'm just like on roads.
You know, it's so funny. I see so many people that have vehicles that they could do the craziest stuff with, and they're like grocery getters. And it's like, no. If you're gonna have that, like, do what it's meant to do, and you'll love it.
I parked next to a EV Hummer at Trader Joe's. It's like, really?
Right.
And it's probably really nice looking, really high gloss, completely clean tires.
Plus vehicle.
Yeah, and they're not doing anything.
It's like,
yeah, that's an ego trip. But what you have, that's super cool, man. I'd love to see you take that Rivian off road.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun, and I drive it to the mountains, and I drive it back, and I haul stuff around in it. But I don't get out in the mud, right? And that's one of those things. I'm like, maybe I should find some mud somewhere, like that.
You should find some mud.
Yeah, find some mud and do the things.
Remember though, electric
go
vehicles
stump jumping.
very heavy.
Oh, so much so.
Yeah.
I have an Etsy shop, and this is funny. So I was talking to my tax person. He said, yeah, I'm thinking about buying this Rivian, whatever, and I'm going to use it to haul around wood for my lasers. And he goes, is it heavy? Is it like more than 6,000 pounds or something like that? I'm like, I looked it up. Apparently, if you own a heavy vehicle for your small business, you get a huge tax deduction.
Oh.
And so it doesn't look like it, but it's so when I went to the tag office in North Carolina, I said, I'd like first in flight. And they said, sorry, dude, you get weighted. And I'm like, okay, great. So my truck's going to have like body image issues from the onset, right?
Shame.
Yeah, like no options.
Can I put like really heavy weights in the back of a Hugo and get that?
Nice.
We're not redoing the Ohio fishing controversy. We're not doing that.
You can't do the whole suspension thing in North Carolina anymore, by the way. So,
No, alas.
Man, a lot's been going on. I don't know. For me, the last thing I'll say about this year before we talk about just current nerd stuff is, it's been a year of like reflection, same as you said, Graham. Like I've been on a health kick of sorts, trying to
me too,
get my metabolic age more in line with my real age. So it's working out pretty good. So I'm happy about it.
I've been packing some heat into these guns.
I don't know. I don't have actual guns, but
sun's out.
I have less of the one pack.
I'm just trying to stay alive, man. I mean, I'm just trying to recognize that, like, if I don't take care of myself, no one's going to do it. So, and so, yeah, it's a journey. But let's talk a little bit about what are some things we've been into recently. I want to ask if anyone has seen a particular thing. Now, I wouldn't call it nerdy, but I definitely was nerding out on it because I ended up trying it out, and it's really surprised me because it wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be. And then I just binged watched both seasons. Has anyone here watched The White Lotus?
Yes.
Okay. Eric, was it like surprising and not at all what I thought it was going to be? Like, I don't really know what I thought it was going to be.
Correct.
But that's not what I thought it was going to be.
I'm only halfway through season 2, so no spoilers.
Okay, no spoilers.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those shows that takes a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah.
Season 1 was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I just found it funny and completely dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize it was going to be this anthology of the White Lotus as a hotel chain.
Yep.
And changing locations each season with virtually none of the same cast or none of the same tropes. So
it's like a True Detective type of thing, maybe.
It's
without the murder.
Actually, I wouldn't say that.
Spoilers, man.
Murder. All right. Well, okay. Give us the dad nerd description of the show then that will encourage us other.
Dysfunctional mystery in really beautiful places, and as a a lover of cinematography, this show is brilliantly shot.
Okay.
It is absolutely beautifully shot, and the consistency across the shoot, across all the scenes, is spectacular. So I want to recommend that White Lotus, and then I've heard that once you end the White Lotus, if you are missing it, apparently Glass Onion is like a great thing to watch after you've completed White Lotus. So I'm probably going to be watching that. But I ended up watching, and if you haven't seen it yet, I think it came out way earlier this year. I literally finished it today and was floored by it. All Quiet on the Western Front. It is. I just cannot believe this movie was not talked about more. And, it's funny because I had this like little guilty thing about it where I remember when I was younger, I must have been in middle school, I was assigned to read that book, and I didn't want to read it for, I don't know why, which is weird. Now I love military history.
At what grade? I'm sorry.
It had to have been 7th or 8th grade.
Okay, I thought you said 3rd. I was like, wow.
No. It had to have been middle school. It had to be
German. No.
Yeah. Yes, in the original German. So I ended up not reading it, and I always kind of regretted it. And so now that I've seen this movie, I'm actually going to go back and I'm actually going to go read the whole book. I want to read the whole thing again. But honestly, if you haven't seen this yet, you got to catch it. It's really, really great.
You asked
on Netflix.
The description of White Lotus. I'm going to say it's non-paranormal fantasy island for Gen Z.
There you go.
Nice. Okay.
Ooh.
Got it.
That is perfect.
So I want to recommend one real quick. This is a quick take. I just got bored trying to find new things, and I got tired of suggestions, and I didn't want to buy into the hype of some of these other shows that I've been hearing about but wasn't sure about. So I picked Netflix has so many movies and series now that are from other countries that I just find fascinating. So I got into this one called Into the Night, and it's a Belgian thriller where imagine if when the sun comes up, everyone just drops dead. So there's something with the sun's polarity. But anyway, these people on a airline passenger plane find out about it, and they just keep flying west and so they're always in the darkness.
I think I've heard of this.
And they're trying to figure out, throughout the whole season, what the hell are they going to do? And it's like this mix of people. You've got the NATO guy who's cracked up. You've got the mom with the sick kid. You've got it's a lot going on, but I recommend it.
Excellent.
Is it like an episode's like an hour each time?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's
an
like a
hour
24
each time.
type
So
thing?
but that's my biggest qualm is it's only 6 or 8 episodes in a season. They're already in season 2, and it just goes really fast because it's just a cool concept.
What about you guys? What are some things you guys have been watching that you got, you binged, or was a great movie, or was a sleeper, something that came out a while ago? You ended up watching it again. We're like, oh my God, what's something you guys have been watching, or reading, or playing?
I'll tell you.
Well, I guess this is not a surprise one, and I'm way behind because I think the wave has already happened. But Andor.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Good
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Oh my
Good
God!
stuff.
So we're a
Yes.
couple episodes in. Definitely a different Star Wars show.
Yes.
Enjoying that aspect of it.
No
Just
wizards or space lasers here.
No, and it's just kind of providing a different vibe, right? It's kind of like behind the scenes in real life, without all the major people who come in and solve everything, and so it kind of gives you a different perspective. And I won't go any worse than that, because if I'm that far in, there's other people who haven't started it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
really fair.
No, it is good though.
And it's
highly
a good one.
recommend.
Alan, you were about to chime in with something there.
Yeah, no. So I've been going back to a few things, and one of my kids is a little older now. Like, he's in college up in New York, and so like I hadn't watched Sense8 in a while, and like I don't want to watch that with my kid. But now that he's 18, we sort of like book clubbed it, right? And so he's watching it up in college, and I'm watching it down here. And I don't know if any of y'all seen Sense8.
No.
Yep.
Oh my gosh! So the
Yeah, it's good.
the Wachowskis, the people who did The Matrix, right? And there's a lot of gratuitous sex, which is why I don't want to like sit next to my kid on the couch and watch it, right?
I like that.
But it's if you like things like the OA or Stranger Things or anything in that vein, Sense8 it's kung fu, it's out of body experiences, it's everything that Matrix was. Plus, of course, the Wachowskis both came out as trans, and so there's a lot of play on who we are. I'll give you one little sort of snapshot. Sometimes people can, I guess, channel each other from continents. It's shot all over the world, and this is part of why it was canceled after a few seasons, because it was shot in Kenya and Iceland and all over. And there's a moment, I think, where some guy is like working out at the gym, but one of the people he's connected with, his Sense8, is like having sex, and so he's sitting there in the gym, and then all of a sudden he feels what they feel, and he's like, oh, right. And so it's like this hilarious moment, right? Where, or like one time, one of the people, is this Korean kickboxing woman, and she's got like cramps. And so then someone across the world is feeling that on her behalf. And they're just like going up there at the grocery store, and it's a dude at the grocery store, and he's like feeling cranky all of a sudden. He doesn't know why, right? So it's called Sense8, and it's brilliant.
So brilliant. Alan, where do we find Sense8? That sounds really good.
It's a Netflix original.
And
after 2 seasons, they canceled it. But then there was such an outcry from and y'all know, you've seen so many things where there's an outcry from the fans and then nobody listens. But the outcry from the fans was enough that Netflix went back to the Wachowskis and said, hey, we're not going to give you a 3rd season, but we'll give you a movie at the end to sort of tie a bow on all this.
That is what we've talked about with the Netflix problem, is that they do 2 seasons, and it doesn't matter how good it is.
Mindhunter,
you're done.
I was just about to bring up Mindhunter. I was
Mindhunter
in my head. I was like,
it's crazy. So I don't know, like that.
It's
happened to so many.
And the OA at the end of I don't know if did y'all all see the OA or at the end of the 2nd season of the OA, the question was, is real life the 3rd season? And then the pandemic came, and like there were these layers where you didn't know if they're jumping dimensions, and then suddenly the actors playing the characters, and this is a big major spoiler here, sorry, the actors playing the characters are going by their actors' names as we're watching them. You're like, holy shit, wait, that they are now in our world all of a sudden, and I'm like, wait, are we the 3rd season? And I don't get high a lot, but like maybe I should, right? When I watch that.
Maybe you should. You probably should. That's really cool. Now, Daniel, I understand you have been watching a show that you are going to make a case is one of the greatest shows ever released on Disney Plus. Actually, that it's a triumph of modern show making. I believe the show was Willow.
That quite a bit. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Tell us about Willow.
So I started watching. I watched all. So it's not completely out yet, but I watched 5 episodes last night. That's all that's available, and I was really geeked, really jazzed to watch it because I loved watching Willow as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And it started out. I was like, all right, okay, this is good. First episode, I was geeked, and I made a quick post. I was like, who else is watching this? I love it so far. And then 2 through 5 sort of came in, and I'm like, this series is trying really hard. I think it's a Disney effect to it. It's really trying hard to be like a Guardians of the Galaxy type show, where it's very. I mean, we all know that it was whimsical. It was lighthearted during the movie, but it just was trying a little too hard. Like there are some aspects of it to it. It's specifically that Borman character who just is comedic in every way, and there's nothing serious about him. But I'm not feeling it like I was after that first episode. I really loved seeing the cameos though. Seeing Kevin Pollak as a brownie again just took me right back, and I loved it. I love seeing Joanne Whalley doing her thing, even though doesn't seem like she's as involved as I would hope she was going to be. But I like the concept of the world itself, and I think they're sort of falling a little short for me at this point. We'll see what happens in the next few. There's actually one supposed to be released today, I believe. Sort of should have come out, so. We'll see what happens, but
so would you say is it the teen effect of like to me, Willow and a lot of those 80s films were good because regardless of the age of the character, it was like bands of misfits that were slammed together with like, weird circumstances, and then you had to go either solve a mystery or fight the big bad or go on the quest or what have you. But the way I understand this, and I haven't watched it, is that he's like the shepherd over a new like band of young folks, right? And I just don't know that formula always works.
It's the classic hero story, though. You find out, so we're looking for Allura. They don't know where Allura's at in the first episode. Sorry, spoilers. They end up finding her, but like then she's trying to learn. It's like Luke in New Hope. She's trying to figure out how to be a sorcerer. So you get this classic hero thing. It's not quite over yet. We'll see what happens. But the series is honestly, it's really missing, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're missing Matt Morgan hard.
Yep. So I found the same thing. So I found Val Kilmer, Mad Mardigan's, the fact that he's not there is such a gaping hole that it's almost like they there's no way they'll ever be able to fill that. And the other thing I felt about it is that it felt like it was one of those cases where they chose to do it right now instead of doing it right. And they just didn't spend enough time, like the various different characters having accents or not having accents, and then sometimes using an accent, and then other times they don't have an accent, got to the point where I was just like, what the hell is happening? Like, was there no language? Was there nobody on set looking at this and being like, okay,
was there no director?
2 minutes ago you were using a British accent. You either have to use it or don't use it. But so there's some consistency issues around it. But it's kind of like Thor: Love and Thunder, right? Which is, if you look at Thor: Love and Thunder and you realize the entire movie is the blue rock guy off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. Yes, if you realize that it's him telling the story to this group of kids around a campfire, and the way he tells the story is kind of silly and fun and lighthearted, and things don't really make sense, and it's a little crazy. If you look at Thor: Love and Thunder that way, you can have fun with the movie. Right? If you go in thinking this is going to be Avengers, Endgame, Thor 1, Iron Man, it's going to be one of those, well, of course you're going to hate it. Ragnarok was fun as well. I think they need to get back to serious Thor, but the point is, there was a reason for that. I'm trying to watch Willow and take that same approach, right? Which is like, look, the original movie was a little cheesy, a little bit silly, a little bit fun, a little crazy, a little campy, and it's okay for the series to be. But like, the movie was so much better than what they're putting out right now that it doesn't feel like it's doing the movie justice. It actually feels like they probably just shouldn't have done this at all. Or they should have found a way to include Mad Mardigan where he's been regenerated as a younger
CGI?
person, or I don't know what, or do one of those CGI. I don't know. I don't know how you would do that without Val Kilmer, because it was Val's approach to that, which, by the way, I learned in that movie, he had a broken leg for a whole section while they were filming it. And if you look closely, you can see in some of the scenes, he's wearing a cast, and I never knew that. But anyway, it's interesting to hear about Willow, and I hope you end up liking it as it completes.
I hope the last few episodes are as good as I would hope, but I can sort of see it getting to that point. Like, there seems like there's going to be some kind of, mind fuck, some sort of thing there, but I'm not sure where it's going right now, because they're sort of meandering. I do like the introduction of different groups and tying their stories back to the original movie, sort of trying to create the world, but I just feel like it's the connectivity between everything is just lacking a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that really sums it up well. Is it's the connectivity. Kevin, what about you, man? What have you been watching?
You mentioned Glass Onion in relationship to White Lotus, and that we watched that the other night because Chinese in a movie is how you do Christmas, right? And that's got me thinking. Go back to White Lotus because I didn't even get through one episode and I kind of wandered away.
Yes,
and so
you have to get into the second or third episode. The first episode was weird. Once you get into episodes 2 and 3, it's really, really good.
Good. I saw a teaser, and I cannot remember the name of the series. It's on Amazon. It's the Pacino Nazi Hunter series. They're teasing the new season coming up.
Oh, I've seen that.
And it's kind of weird, right? It's Nazi hunters with extra weirdness thrown in. And a thought that's not new, but there's a couple of seasons, I think it's 3 seasons. This might be a little close to the real world for everyone. It's on Netflix's Occupied, which is in Norway, and Russia kind of just walks into the country because they want oil.
Too soon.
Well, too current. Yeah.
By the way, did you see? This is a complete tangent, but if you haven't seen, you may not be into pageants, but Miss Universe is coming up. The Ukrainian, contestant. She is going to show up in this huge, badass armor with like a broadsword and like huge wings, like she's an archangel or something. It is the most badass thing I've seen all week. So anyhow, go give them a like, even if you don't watch the show. I don't know if the orange guy is still associated with that event or not, but anyhow.
Did any of y'all watch the 3rd season of Jack Ryan? Is it called Jack Ryan?
No, I've never even
I didn't even know that was out.
I haven't watched a single one.
I have.
They don't do a good job promoting these shows, like Netflix and Amazon. Like if you're not, subscribed and whatever already.
It was okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm only a few episodes in, but it's real life. Like I'm like, when did they write this?
Yeah.
I'm like, are they just looking at the news and then inserting Jack Ryan? I don't know.
Interesting.
Kind of.
It could be. I mean, they're doing things now that are. I mean, I don't know. I love the spycraft shows, so I'm into that. Who's going to be the next?
That's Ryan's outlook on the world. They're doing things now that are.
They're doing things now that are important and interesting.
They're doing stuff and things.
Who should be the next James? Let's make it interesting then. Who should be the next James Bond, folks? Or should they just let James Bond go?
Michael. What do you got? Michael. He's got an answer ready for that.
No, me. I mean, it's that simple. I want the cars.
I see. Okay, all right. Okay, I got it.
Oh my God.
I mean, come on, it's easy.
What'd you say, Daniel?
Madden should do it. The dude, the original King of the North from Game of Thrones. You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember his first name, but he's the one that I would pick to do the James Bond. He did something similar. His last name.
I know who you're talking about. He was the king. He was the king. So Richard Madden. Yeah.
Richard Madden.
Yeah. He was Stark. He was the Stark kid.
The eldest Stark boy.
The eldest Stark. Yes. I agree with that. I think he
would be really good at. That's a great idea.
So does it have to be a guy? Does it have, there was all this talk about Elvis or whatever.
Yeah, I heard about that.
How do you say? Please, somebody help me.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba. I have to say it 3 times fast. I don't know, man. I think they need to take a little bit of a break and think about it. But
I watched his what was the character, the cowboy in the Stephen King series.
Oh yeah,
that was on
the Gunslinger.
Netflix or Amazon.
Gunslinger. They are going to reboot that series. I've heard, by the way.
It was worth watching, but it wasn't great. Anyway.
Well, it's hard to do the Dark Tower justice with one film, so I think they try to do too much. So, what are we looking forward to this year, guys? Like, what is gonna, what do you got to look forward to? Either now or just what are you hoping for? Anybody want to go and make any predictions or what do you want more of, less of? What do you want?
I'll jump in because one, we are just living in Dave Filoni's Star Wars universe right now, and I'm going to tell you. I mean, the build up to Ahsoka coming out, and the next season of The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Oh my God.
True.
Yes.
I'm now. It makes me want to go back and rewatch all of Star Wars Rebels, and I keep trying to explain to people, if you want to follow along with where we're going with this, you need to be familiar
Rebels.
with Star Wars Rebels for damn sure.
Yep.
I'll go back to what was said earlier about Andor. There are some award level acting performances, and if you haven't gotten through the series yet, I won't spoil it for you in terms of who shows up and gives just some of the greatest monologues in Star Wars universe history. While we're on sci-fi, the other thing I'm really excited about, and this I did not expect, was how good they did of a job with the Star Trek series. And Strange New Worlds is fantastic. That is such a good series. And so I'm excited to see more of that, and the Lower Decks also. That's
oh my God, I love Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Lower Decks is so good.
It's so good, and it's hilarious.
So good.
And it's got some really good acting on it. They keep wrapping in people. While we're talking Star Trek, Picard 3, I mean, this is like I hope they do it justice. And I got to think that they got everybody back from Next Generation that they're going to.
What about Wesley?
I've heard. Well, he showed up in season 2. No spoilers, but yeah.
You know what I like about Lower Decks? Lower Decks is probably the greatest example I've ever seen of someone taking an exceedingly risky idea for a well-established, highly controlled, coveted, protected brand and saying, look, I need you to just trust me. This is going to be really uncomfortable. We're going to go way off the rails. You're probably going to want to fire me, but if you trust me, it'll work. And whoever it was at that highest level that was just like, all right, whatever, fuck it, just go for it.
I need you to go sit in the corner.
And it's like some of the best Trek. It's some of the best Trek.
It is. And again, Strange New Worlds, I've just been really, it was unexpected how good that was.
Yeah.
So that's been good. I'm really excited to see where Marvel is going.
I was going to bring that up.
I feel like that's continued to be this well executed evolution of things. I absolutely went completely fangirl during the Doctor Strange, alternate universe movie, and see
Sam Raimi, man, it was
the
pure
casting there.
unrefined.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So
and Wakanda Forever was awesome.
That was
Wakanda Forever was.
We all cried. I'm really excited
God,
to see what's going to go down with DC and James Gunn taking over.
Yeah,
no.
I trust James Gunn. I do. I think he's done excellent work. He has a phenomenal track record. And so seeing what he does with that, and there's just so many other good things out there. And The Boys continues to surprise me.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
So if you want a sequel to Superman and you have Christopher Reeve and the movie goes that well, when you hire a new director, do you fire Christopher Reeve? I mean, that is a deal breaker for most of the fans. So I just think you don't have somebody like Henry Cavill and then somehow just throw everything away that was being built. Even if you didn't like all those other movies, I'm saying you don't throw away the guy who's Superman. You just give him a different script.
And remember, right? Peter Gunn's James Gunn's not the director. He's now the Kevin Feige.
I know.
He's now
and I get that.
The umbrella guy, and they talked amicably.
I just think they can't. They just can't get their act together.
I don't think they can underestimate.
So it's not that I don't like James Gunn. It's just that I don't see how a hard reboot to do a teen movie is going to fix things.
Daniel,
I don't think they estimated the amount that Cavill connects with his fans either. I don't think that they've put that into account because he's all over the place at the cons, on Twitch, everywhere. He is connected to his fans immensely, so they're loyal as can be, and I think that's really going to bite them when they reboot. So
yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to point out, we brought up Taika Waititi earlier with Love and Thunder, and my God, can he? He can do no wrong.
I think so.
Did you watch Our Flag Means Death?
Our Flag Means Death is
Yes.
fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
That was hilarious.
What We Do in the Shadows,
Yep.
may be one of the greatest comedy shows ever. That continues to be laugh out loud funny. So Taika Waititi.
I love it.
Holy moly!
Remember, he was in the Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
Kevin, I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
hilarious.
Kevin, what were you saying?
I
set
got
it
a
up. Thank you.
reminder of not Taika Waititi, but related Reservation Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that's good.
It's really good. It's teenagers, but really well done. They take real things, and then they also are kind of ridiculous too.
My lightsaber's talking to me. Well, listen, guys, this was really cool. We appreciate you joining us for episode 98, 99. It's great for me as the third wheel loser here to hang out with Ryan and all of his friends. So it's really nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, but you're in London,
Daniel,
sir.
have fun at the events. Kevin, get your ass back to Massachusetts. Eric, enjoy your pension. Alan, keep doing amazing things with your students and your music. Michael, you're the best. I talk to you all the time. I just love your podcast and everything you do around that place we work and all that good stuff. And also, you're a fellow theater bug bit you many years ago, and you and I have a lot of that in common. But guys, really great to meet you. Sounds like we've got a lot of great stuff to look forward to in the year ahead. And at some point, join us back on the show. We're going to do a bit of a retooling and kind of create a little bit more of a streamlined approach to the show. And Ryan, my friend, man, it's always good to just spend a little time with you and your magical beard of wonder.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. Here we go. All right. That's the show. It'll just go off the rails from here.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah,
Have a
thanks for
great.
hanging out,
We'll
guys.
see you in 2023.
The year of Taylor Swift. Yes.